Well, hello, and welcome to another wonderful episode of Joy and Gratitude. Today is really an exciting time because we have guests, and our guests are the Ritual Sisters. And Beth, tell us how we got here.
Yes, I will. I will. And then we will let Kelly and Michelle introduce themselves. But yes, Kelly and I met through mutual connection, and connection is always the way people come together. And
Mhm.
so she and I just started talking about what was going on for us, and we were both doing podcasts. And I have to share this. So I have my phone in front of you if you see me looking down, but this is literally to their listeners. So their podcast is named Ritual Sisters, and we're super excited to hear more about it. But this is what literally they say to their listeners. Part of it. This is an excerpt, just to be clear. Ritual Sisters is dedicated to helping you feel more connected to both the small and big joys of life. We're so grateful you are here, and we cannot wait to journey with you, find connection, make meaning, and listen to our heart's direction. Love, the Ritual Sisters. So, for those of you who have been listening to Joy and Gratitude, you know this is completely aligned and beautifully connected to what we here, Neo and I, do together at Joy and Gratitude. So, with that, I will just say it is clear why we wanted you on our podcast. We are thrilled to be here to talk with you and share with you and unravel together. So, Kelly, do you want to start kicking it off with telling us a little bit about you?
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you both so much. Michelle and I are equally as excited. So thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm curious where I'm going to let this intro go. It feels like one of those, where do I begin? But I think I just spent time with my family recently. So I think for my intro, I'm just really called to share that I love being a daughter. I love being a sister. I love being a friend, a partner, a collaborator. Just feeling a lot of gratitude for these just different roles that are part of my world. And I really step into them with a lot of excitement and joy and enthusiasm. And in my professional world, I'm a therapist, I'm a coach, and I've recently been saying I'm a ceremonialist, which feels kind of big in a way,
Yeah.
but I have this really deep longing to lead and help others lead themselves in ceremony.
That is amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Incredible. And Michelle, tell us about yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm Michelle. I feel like my heart is like bursting right now. I'm so
Oh.
happy to be here with you guys, and it just feels so nice to be connected to people that are on that similar wavelength right now. So I'm just so happy about that. And yeah, I'm also a therapist, and I'm a marriage and family therapist. Like Callie, we went through the same program together. So, of course, connection is really huge for us. And then I'm also a registered play therapist. So I went through that whole process the last few years, and it really helped me just to see how much healing can look like joy and play and fun, and that can be really deep work at the same time.
Mm.
That's a huge part of what, inspired me to be drawn towards ritual and to create Ritual Sisters with Kelly.
Rituals are, I think that sometimes we need to define things to help people, have
Mhm.
an understanding of the difference between a habit, which a
Mm.
habit is something that we instinctively do because we are expecting an end result. Our body is triggered with a cue, then we do the process, and then our body is expecting a result and it receives it. But a ritual is different. And I need you to clarify that to our wonderful audience because that's the exciting work that you're doing.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's exactly a big piece of it, is that we always talk about the intention behind it, where
Yes.
habit can be, like you said, like you're kind of trying to get a result, but it does become rote. And that is kind of the point of habit. Like you want to get in the habit of something. You don't want to have to think about it. Whereas ritual is more of that intention. I want to sit down, I want to think, and it's a space to process, whether it's on your own or in a group. It's to move through emotions, it's to honor change and transition with that specific intention and mindfulness.
Yeah. One thing that's interesting, Michelle and I have talked about together is how, for some of us, we think about daily ritual. So it's this rhythm of every day. But then there's also people that resonate more with, right, those bigger rituals where it might be once a year, once a quarter. I think sometimes it can be interchanged with tradition or ceremony. And so, yeah, there's so many different ways you can think about ritual and the rhythm it shows up for each of us.
It's
One,
it's
go
go ahead.
No, I
Yeah.
was going to say, how does ritual impact us?
Mm,
As humans, we're all interconnected,
yeah.
and ritual usually has some connections. How does that impact us? And how does it become important value?
I think for me, it's on one hand, it is about pausing and slowing down, because I think it's so easy to move through life so quickly and like look back and it's just everything is a blur. Like, when did this happen? What was going on in my life when I made this transition? Whereas when I've paused, even something small like what originally led me to text Callie and be like, I want to do this podcast. I had just gone on vacation with my husband, and we went to Joshua Tree, which was like such a big dream of mine to go to Joshua Tree. And at the end of it, we like paused. They had like cards in our Airbnb, which is very Joshua Tree, if you're familiar. And we had gotten saved at like Palm Springs, also very Joshua Tree. So we just like read a card, but it was more about just like kind of reflecting on the trip. And we did like a little sage and just was out in the clean desert air. And now to me, that trip is just like burned into my memory, like that beautiful moment at the end. And it just made me realize how powerful ritual is, that it gives you a chance to slow down and just notice, like, this is what's happening in my life right now.
Joshua Tree is amazing.
Yes. Nia was like, oh, I think she went on a little trip when you mentioned.
I did.
Joshua
I went
Tree.
to my. I did.
No, I mean,
I went to my personal Joshua Tree trip, and it was mind blowing. So it's like, oh my God, I get it.
Yes, something about that place is incredible.
Wow.
I haven't been there, but you too really feel when you say Joshua Tree, I'm like, maybe I should go, because that album puts me in a whole bunch of different places from back in my youth, when we think about that. But what I was going to say in this sort of, as I was thinking about our podcast today, I really was trying to think, what does ritual mean? And I love that we're starting with that, and that it can be different for different people. And I started to ask a few of my close family and friends, and it is different. Some people sort of gravitated towards tradition, Kelly, like you mentioned. I think other people thought for a minute and then maybe listed something that was more like a habit or a routine. The word routine sort of came up. And for me, as I started to kind of think about my own personal definition, because as you listen to other people's, you start to actually get some clarity around your own. I think that the word sentimentality, like having some sort of additional emotionality or feeling associated with something, is what makes it more ritualistic. So for me, I don't know why, but for me, tradition felt more infrequent. Like, sure, we have traditions, but they're spread out wide throughout like a calendar year. Ritual felt for me more frequent, but definitely with sort of, Michelle, as you described it, like an imprint. For me, a ritual is imprinted in some way. There's some heart moment. There's some emotionality, and typically, as you just asked, Neo, which is interesting, some connection. And whether that be, as we're talking, I'm realizing it can be a sentiment or an emotionality or a connection with a human, but also I feel like I have some rituals around nature that are individual. So it's something that I do outside without another human, but that I think brings up some sort of an emotional reaction in me that makes it feel, maybe it's the intentionality word that you said about something more intentional. Like I'm going out into nature to do something in a way in which I do it maybe repeatedly, but with this added dimensionality of I'm being intentional and I know I'm going to have some sort of sentimentality associated with putting myself in that environment. And I don't know what you guys think about that, but I've really been trying to think about, I'm like, is it this little piece of heart that seems to come that makes it feel a little different? How does that resonate with all of you as I try to describe what ritual means to me?
Well, one, Beth, I love that word imprint. That, like, Michelle, I don't think we've used that word yet for it, but I'm drawn to that. Yeah, imprint. Um, I think, yeah, there's just this with ritual, such a richness to ritual. Like, I think about this as like, right, the woven tapestry or the interconnectedness, the web. I mean, Michelle has pointed out, like, I use the word web a lot, right? But we're not this little silo thing, right, out floating in the middle of nowhere, right? There's such a deeper purpose and connectedness when we are in these ritual places and ritual spaces. And the beautiful thing is, right, we get to co-create those, whether that is with nature, whether that is with another human or, nature being. And there's a lot of creativity, I think, in ritual too, that I'm so drawn to. I'll often say, I think when people stop creating, right, they just sever themselves. There's something that completely goes to the wayside. And that's right when often we'll want to numb out, we'll want to disconnect. And so to bring back in the creative flow, I think ritual does that too.
That is really powerful what you just stated. The fact of the creative nature.
Yeah.
That when you lose that, you really have decided to go dormant.
That's it. Yes.
And as Beth was speaking and just listening to both of you, all I could thinking about was the connection that ritual has, that it is a bit transformative. When you go through it, you come out different than you started. And
Yes.
it doesn't matter what your ritual is. You hear of sports players that have the ritual before the game, whether it's meditation, whether it's doing certain tasks. They do them because it puts them in a different headspace. So then they can move forward. So we really are talking about in ritual that imprint transforms us. That is wow.
Yeah, I think that we talk about that a lot too, just that, we just have so many different aspects of ourselves, and it's easy to get into our routines and just kind of be stuck in one mode. But we want to be able to access all these different parts of ourselves. And so ritual does give us that opportunity to like find our creative side, find our like fiery side, find our calm meditative side, whatever, we can be anything in those moments.
So tell us about in your podcast, tell us more about the podcast and what could our audience, if they listen in, and we encourage them to, what they would be able to find.
Yeah, we mostly interview people. We do occasionally just chat, the two of us.
Sometimes we spitball.
But
We can
love
relate to that.
Yes.
we love talking to people from different walks of life, like people that have different perspectives than us, and trying to understand, what does ritual look like in your life? Like we just talked to a friend that does improv. So like what have you learned from improv? How can you build that into your life as a ritual? And that's kind of what we want the listeners to get out of it as well. Each episode is kind of a different topic with a different expert, and how can that inform your life and rituals?
Yeah, it reminds me too. I think this came from my grandma, but my dad always said this growing up of, right, like everyone matters, everyone has a story. And there's something for me when we're interviewing, right, specific, because, right, as both of us being therapists, it would have been very easy to only interview therapists. And
Right.
Michelle and I both were like, we don't want to do that. We want to interview people from all these different disciplines because the golden thread is that, right, the interconnectedness, the ritual. And so it's been really fun to, hear about improv. I took like maybe one improv class in college, but I am not an improv expert. In fact, it's kind of intimidating to me personally. But after talking with this person, it's like, oh, there's so many ways we can incorporate, right, this wisdom into our own worlds. And so I've loved that about interviewing people and talking with them about ritual.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
After I wrote my book,
Mm.
it's almost like you're planning a wedding. And you take all this time and you plan the wedding and you do all this time, and then the wedding comes
Mhm.
and you're just like, okay, what now?
Mhm.
It's over. No more
Yeah.
planning. And you deliver it. And I mean, there's a host of things after, but it's different. It's not that planning stage, the writing. And I created my own ritual that has become a discipline for me. And it is a morning ritual. And every morning I get up extremely early. Sometimes my husband says ridiculously early. Um, and I do my morning meditation. And my meditation involves silent meditation and also prayer. And from that, I usually get a topic. And it's a topic that, I always ask in my meditation, what is something that can help someone today? What is something that's looming in the space that I can fill the space? And that's the way I start. And afterwards, every single time, I just go to my computer and I start writing. And and then I do a little bit of research to go along with it because I like for people to get some good instruction or have somewhere else to go besides my thoughts. And I write a daily post on LinkedIn, and it's called Joy Notes. And it's 7 every day. I have it's my ritual now. No matter where I am, I could be outside of the United States on vacation. I still wake up about 4:30 a.m. and I start my ritual.
Wow.
And what I have found when I'm late in the process, I have a day that I'm misguided because the ritual is what grounds me and lets me be my best person that day. So, ritual is, I mean, for me, that's an example. There's so many others in my life, but that particular one is my grounding steps for the day.
That is so powerful, Neo. And when did you start this? When did the joy note, like, how did that come up for you, this idea?
I, I always did meditation, and it came through meditation.
Wow.
You have to put your voice out, and I didn't even know what that meant. Um, and for some reason, after a meditation, it was January 5th. I said, I'm going to start posting. And I did the first post, and then it took a life of its own. And now I'm 2 years in it. So it's incredible. It is totally incredible. And it is joyful. I leave with joy. I feel satisfied. And, sometimes they don't hit that I'm aware of.
That's
Be-
it.
right. And
Mhm.
you know what? It's not for
Mhm.
me to be aware of it because it's the gift that's being given. So it doesn't matter if I'm aware of it. What matters is that I was faithful. That's all that matters.
Yeah, we interviewed a veteran. He had served for Michelle like probably 25 years, and now he's becoming a therapist, and he had never been on a podcast before. And Michelle and I, I was like, "What?" I mean, you have such an incredible story, and Neo, you sharing that reminds me of just this nature of like, archival, like inner knowings and thoughts, and like the generosity of you sharing that with the world. And I think for all of us as podcast hosts, like creating a space for that. I know when loved ones in my life have died, I so miss hearing their voice. I mean, that's one of the hardest parts. And so to have these recordings for someone, when someone, right, goes beyond this earthly plane, that there's a deep I don't know, a deep purpose to that for me.
Thank you. That was very
Yeah.
kind.
Yeah.
And Beth, just when I first met Beth, so we've told our story so many times that we're not going to do it again. But one of the things that after I hijacked Beth and I went to
So
her
good.
house 2 weeks after we had our first phone call with our producer, we went through her ritual of gratitude rocks, and that cemented us. We knew that moment we were meant to be podcast hosts together. And that ritual is also now part of my rituals. I do my gratitude rocks too. And it's life-changing when you put some ritual into your life and you become intentional about the use of your time. You really change the way you live because of the pause. You did the pause.
I was okay, perfect. You just like threw that right to me because I was wanting to say so much of it is the pause, because the intentionality gets you one step closer, but then the actual action of slowing down to do whatever it is that this ritual is that you've created, that's a commitment to doing something outside of the norm and holding space for it. And I think I love that Neo brought up gratitude rocks. It made me think of kind of a ritual I've created around my morning time, which is I'm picturing where we did it. We happened to have weather that allowed us to sit outside. And one of the things that I was realizing, so I love, Kelly, let me just say, this is what happens. My mind is in like 10 places. I'm like, Kelly, Michelle. But this idea of when did you create it? I love that. Like, oh, right. Like, in what moment do you realize there's something that you need to give space to? And for me, I think I had a realization that nature and being outside just allows me to hear things, feel things, receive things very differently. And that has to now become ritual. It has to be integrated. As simple as I have my cup of coffee outside, and sometimes I bring my phone and I'm like, oh, that's not part of the ritual. That's the default to like, oh, what do I need to do? What does my calendar say? So I'm having to get really intentional. I want to bring that back up because it's not like we always get it right. But it's like, wait, no, I had this calling. How do I listen to that? And then put my phone away, because part of the ritual for me is the hearing the birds, hearing the silence, letting my brain percolate around the day, smelling. I try to do like an all the senses type of thing where I'm like, what do I see and what am I smelling? And how does this coffee tasting, right? I get to do kind of this sensory moment for myself before my day. And Neo, similar to you, I find that much of my creative sort of play space can come from that. So I think the two things I really wanted to touch on was the pause, the creation of ritual. And I think also, Michelle, I love, maybe you can comment on this a little bit. You mentioned play, and certainly as a part of your as a part of what you do and have become like have specifically worked in play. Some people can't say they've worked in play. You can actually say you've worked in play. But this ability to create a ritual or have a ritual and then also play with it. So I want to hear what you have to say. And then I know Kelly has an example of taking gratitude rocks, which is a very sort of known ritual, and being like, I'm going to do something totally different with it and creating her own ritual from that. So I love that we are open enough to have rituals that can morph and be played with to provide the calling, the space, the nurturing, the nourishment, the fuel, all of the things that rituals seem to give us when we allow for them to really imprint. I'm still loving that word. I keep feeling it like you, Kelly. It's like
Yes.
they imprint on us. So with that, I don't know, Michelle, anything on anything on anything, but
Yeah.
play really is bubbling up for me
Yeah.
when we talk about this.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to play, but I think going through the training really, just as an adult, you hearing things that really validate that perspective, because sometimes it feels like, oh, does it really make a difference if I draw a picture or if I act this out instead of just talking about it? But it actually does tap into different parts of your brain. And so that really inspires me to say, like, no, it actually, if I incorporate art or incorporate storytelling or incorporate dance or some kind of movement into my processing, that actually does tap into a different part of my brain than if I were to just sit and talk about it. So I think that's the biggest thing for me with play that comes to mind. And just like the fearlessness of it. You just get to have fun and like kind of like back to that improv piece, just the spontaneity and just letting your mind just go where it wants to go.
How hard is it for adults to go into play?
It's
Oh, Michelle
it's
probably has a lot of
hard.
stories. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that is a big job of a play therapist, is like convincing adults and parents that play is actually really meaningful and tapping into that mindset. I think I remember so long ago, I had a parent who really, really struggled to get into play. And when they realized, like, oh, I actually do that on vacation, then that just clicked for them and was like, okay, all I have to do is get into my vacation mode. So I think you just have to find where in your life you feel that sense of freedom and tap into that, because yeah, it is hard as an adult. It feels just silly, but that's the whole point.
Wonderful. And Kelly, tell us about, how are you using gratitude rocks?
Yes. Oh my goodness. And Michelle's even used the gratitude rocks,
Oh,
Beth, so we have a monthly book club. Speaking of ritual, we meet every month. It's a big group of ladies, and they came to my house, so I had them do the gratitude rocks, which was really sweet.
So
I
good.
will have to say, my most recent example is I lead a group every week in person on Wednesdays. And I'm always trying to come up with fun icebreakers, just ways to, help people. We're dropping in, we're arriving, right? We're leaving what just happened there. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to bring the gratitude rocks. So I introduced them to the practice. They, of course, love it. A lot of them are college students, so it's really interesting. I think it was, there was excitement, but maybe a little bit of shyness or, oh, love. Like, that's so expansive so it was interesting. But it was so funny because there was someone in the group who's a potter, and she was so in love with these gratitude rocks. And I didn't even know she was a potter. So, right then it's this, oh, now I'm getting to know you in a deeper way. And so she just sent me, Beth, I'm going to have to send you the picture. She just sent me rocks that she's making for herself. And it's just beautiful. She used them one time. I mean, it wasn't like, and I was honestly wowed, because I was like, sometimes it takes people a few times, but she instantly knew, wow, this felt different, right? Group this week did something different for her. Yeah.
So cool.
and as soon as you said that, I pulled up my gratitude, joy and gratitude Huggy. So it's a
They turned out so
huggy.
beautiful, by the way. Oh my goodness.
Hold on, let me
So it is a huggy, what I'm using today. And huggy, you put your lovely tea in it and you nestle your hands around it and you feel the warmth as you're drinking. And Beth has the mug. And basically, these are handmade by the same potter that does the gratitude rocks. And we use them as part of our ritual with the Joy and Gratitude podcast, that we drink from them because it gets us back into just something so gorgeous, handmade. And it just feels so wonderful in your hands that we can be completely present even when we're drinking a little water, tea, whatever.
And full disclosure, I don't know, Neil, if you even remember this, but it was Kelly who said, "Would be really cool if you guys had some sort of mugs
Yes,
that
yes, true.
created rituals." So here we are again, like just something where,
Oh.
and for those people that are listening, we do have really cool kick-ass mugs that we're holding that have our logo and our pottery. And it was just someone's creative idea on how to expand like that connection, right? So this is like another beautiful way where, and every time Neil picks hers up, I get a little heart warm, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta pick mine up. It's very fun. So Kelly, thank you for your suggestion and ways in which we can, before we even thought about, joining on each other's podcasts, you brought some beautiful insight into little things that just make a difference, feel good, create that pause. And I love it. Yeah, it's super meaningful. Meaningful. That was the other word.
Yes,
I think rituals are meaningful.
So we have a ritual that we do in Joy and Gratitude, and that is the expansion of joy through music. So music has been the way that I have been able to express going from trauma to triumph and helping people regulate themselves. So we'd like to give both of you an opportunity to give us that song that actually either makes you smile or makes you think about how rituals are impactful. And Michelle, you get to go first.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, Trevor Hall is like always my go-to for like calming, soothing energy. I walk down the aisle to one of his songs. Um, yeah. But one of the ones that I turn to a lot, I think it's called Great Storm Clouds. And it like the lyrics are great storm clouds hold in rain. It's part of nature to hold a little pain. And so I love those lyrics because it's just a reminder, and I think that's part of ritual. It's like it's a safe place because ritual holds all aspects of life and pain is part of life. So whenever there's like a little bit of a down moment, that's always a go-to song for me.
That's a powerful song. I know the lyrics, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it is those storm clouds do move on.
And they express too. They're so
Yep.
expressive.
Kelly, your turn, Kelly.
Oh, yeah. And I love Trevor Hall, but I don't know if I know that song, Michelle. So I'm excited to listen to that later. Thank you. Oh gosh, I know. I knew we were going to be asked the song, and I was like, it's interesting and very telling, Michelle, that we both went, this is a song I listen to if I need to cry. So, but it's that release, right? I think just the release that then I'm returning, I'm in my body. So it's called, I think, hopefully you guys have heard of it, Orange Sky by Alexi. I don't know how to say his last. I think Murdoch.
Yeah, Murdoch.
Murdoch. And again, maybe it's, with the clouds, to your point, Michelle, maybe it's the sky and just the music of that song. It really always makes me cry. And it reminds me that, right, everything is impermanent, nothing lasts forever, and every single moment matters. I matter. And to just really, try to not take anything for granted.
I love that you both pick songs that truly made you name the feeling.
Yes.
Because that's when we can actually move forward. It's when we name our feeling and confront it. So you pick some very wonderful songs. Beth, let's roll on into some gratitude rocks.
That's right. Now we're going to do gratitude.
Ooh, yay.
Okay, Michelle, I will start with you.
Okay.
So hold on, actually, take a moment here. I want to just connect with you a little more energetically because I was still digging around, but I want this to be more intentional. The ritual is to connect with the person.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is yours. Can you see the color? And the word is
Ooh,
open.
open. That.
So when you see that word and feel that word, what comes up for you?
Yeah, I think even just, this process of being on this podcast with you today is like, that was one thing I was thinking going into it was kind of just like, yeah, be open, just say what's on your mind. Don't feel like you have to orchestrate your thoughts and like come out a certain way. So that felt very fitting to me. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful.
That color was beautiful too.
Yeah.
Was that like a lavender or can I see the
Yes.
color again, Beth?
Yeah, of course you can. So for those, hold on, I gotta find my camera. It's all tricky. There we go. Can you see
Yeah, it's
it?
very
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that
Very
is
cool.
stunning.
It is. That's a powerful color. I love that.
Yeah, kind of like it feels almost like contrasting because I feel like openness can be like kind of like scary or something, but it's like the soothing, relaxing color.
Oh, see, I love that ad because I do think again as we play with ritual, the colors were never kind of an intentional piece. It's like picking beautiful colors and wonderful words. And now I'm realizing like some people will gravitate towards the color, like Kelly did, and having some sort of a reaction to the color. And then Michelle, you beautifully connected the color and the word. So right here in live and in person on our podcast, we are playing and transforming and broadening a ritual. So I'm super grateful that we're able to do that with our listeners. So just to always be willing to continue to be in flow and move things in different directions through creativity. Like thinking about that's really, I don't know, I love it. I love it. All right, Kelly. Okay. This is your, hold on, doing the camera thing.
Ooh, that is
Oh,
gorgeous.
wow.
Has a little of that, I feel like the mug, the huggy and the mug in there, that little like kind of cool grace. Yes. And the word is kind.
Oh.
So when you get the word kind, Kelly, what comes up for you?
And I love those colors. Ooh. There's something about the purples and the
We get a lot of the purple hues today. I
the
know. I have to like find back to
lavenders.
there it is. Good.
Oh, wow. When I think about, kindness, like the word gentle's coming up too. So I think those are kind of dancing together with this gratitude rock today of, yeah, to be kind to others, right? Really also being gentle with them, but also being kind to myself and being gentle with myself. And that is a big value. So it's amazing that this is like, it's one of those feelings of, wow, I'm exactly where I need to be. Like, I am meant to be recording this with you all right now. And yeah, kindness is something I'm so grateful. I was modeled kindness so beautifully by people in my life. And it's something I try my best every day to be kind. And yeah, it feels like a core pillar. So that's what's coming up for me. Yeah.
What an incredible session we've had. And it's been such a grounding session.
Yes.
This was special for our listeners and for us, both Beth and I, because it just meant, it literally cemented the importance of us taking that time to pause and be intentional about every aspect of our actions. And with these rituals, we can be our best person. And at the same time, we have to continue to be open and even take knowledge that there are other aspects to our rituals that we can learn to incorporate. And of course, always lead with kindness and joy and gratitude. Thank you so much, Ritual Sisters, for joining us. Is there anything that our listeners need to know that's coming up for the Ritual Sisters that we should share with them?
Oh, Michelle, yeah, kick us off because there might just be something.
Yeah, we actually have a really big something coming up. So we're really excited with this idea of community. That was a part of why we founded Ritual Sisters. So we are actually launching our Patreon at the beginning of September. So that's going to be a place where we can just kind of keep expanding and having bigger conversations with people, connecting in deeper ways. So we are so excited about that.
How wonderful. Congratulations. There's a yearning and a necessity for community. And the more that we intentionally go out and open those doors, the better that we are going to be able to make it through the multitude of changes that are happening in our society. So I thank you for doing that for our community and for us. And we will be making sure that we join you in sisterly rituals. But right now, I must say, so long for now. Enjoy and gratitude.